All right. Welcome back to Prayer of the Barren Womb. And Project Four Rivers of Eden continues. All right, little guy. Come on. Let's go. There's a good boy. All right, Project Four Rivers of Eden continues. And I think I might actually keep a promise that I made in my last video, where we will be talking about resonance. However, there's a warning here. I'm feeling the pull of Genesis 6 controversy pulling me into a conversation that I don't want to focus on, but I feel like there's questions that are being formed out there in whoever is listening to this channel that might want to be addressed. And one of the questions that I think pulls people into the Genesis 6 controversy is the question of, what's going on here and why is this happening? As I've already indicated, I land on Team Angelic Incursion to explain the Genesis 6 narrative. But the question then becomes, why? Why would this happen? And this is where we get into resonance, the idea that two storylines will provide additional information on the other. And the storyline that I'm referring to that will provide additional insight into the Genesis 6 controversy has to do with rivalry between the brothers of who is going to inherit the right of authority into the next generation. If it's the firstborn, then following siblings, the younger siblings, will be required to submit themselves to the authority of the firstborn. If it's the secondborn, then the firstborn, the logical sequence of chain of command should be from the father to the firstborn. The logical sequence, if that is interrupted and the authority goes to a younger child, then now the older child has to submit himself to the authority of the younger. And this is what I believe is the rivalry in all these brotherhoods. We've got the intense rivalry that's happening with the children of Abraham, Ishmael, firstborn, in rivalry with Isaac, secondborn, Isaac's children, Esau and Jacob, in intense rivalry for the right of who will be under who. Then you have Jacob's children, the elder brothers, the 10 older brothers, are in rivalry with Joseph over who will be the Bechor. And it's this story that I want to take a look at to provide additional layers of meaning to the Genesis 6 story. So to find that, let's go, where am I? I should have found it first. Okay, we're in Genesis 37. And this is the generations of Jacob, Joseph. Okay, Genesis 37, verse 2. This is the history or the generations of Jacob, Joseph. There's no word in between Jacob and Joseph. And so you get this intense connection between the father and the son is indicated here just in the lineup of words. Joseph, being 17 years old, was feeding the flock with his brothers, and the lad was with the sons of Bilhah and the sons of Zilpah, his father's wives, and Joseph brought a bad report to them to his father. Now Israel loved Joseph more than all his children, because he was the son of his old age, and also he made him a tunic of many colors. The classic story of Joseph and the rivalry of his older brothers. Okay. Keep in mind that the story I am about to tell you that comes to us downstream in time, we're talking about Genesis 37, will provide insight to us of the upstream story of Genesis 6 and even earlier. Let me explain. Jacob comes into the land of his father-in-law, Laban, and he's impoverished. I don't want to go down that one, but he negotiates a bride price for the wife, the woman that he loves is Rachel. And he negotiates 7 years of labor for Rachel's hand in marriage. Laban ends up deceiving him on the wedding night and veils his older daughter, Leah, in place of Rachel. So we have this tension and this rivalry, not now between sons, but between daughters. We have Rachel and Leah rivalry. Leah is the firstborn. Rachel is the secondborn. Jacob loves the secondborn. He is deceived by his father-in-law in the same way that Jacob deceived his father. His father-in-law now deceives Jacob over who is the firstborn. It's wonderful when you start getting into this stuff. But Jacob ends up producing children from Leah, and Rachel is barren. The beautiful but barren wife is Rachel. And Leah is producing child after child. And these older children, by right of just being older, they're the ones that should receive the privileges of authority and double portion. However, Joseph is treating the firstborn child of Rachel above the children of Leah and the concubines, Bilhah and Zilpah. And so he is showing preference to the firstborn child of his beloved wife, Joseph. Joseph is being groomed for the Bechor, and the resentfulness is now taking place between the brothers. All right, this story that we see in Genesis 37 has, in my opinion, a meta interpretation that will provide additional insights to us of the larger realm. The larger realm is what I understand to be the larger reality. Paul speaks to this when he talks about we do not look at the things that are seen, for the things that are seen are temporary, but the things that are unseen are eternal. The more powerful, dominant realm is the unseen realm, the realm that from our perspective here in the backwards, the upside down material realm, we would look at that realm, we would call it the spiritual realm. And Paul is bringing this idea forward in declaring that this larger realm is the larger reality. We in the material realm are embedded in the smaller reality. That larger reality is the firstborn realm. The smaller reality is our material realm. And it seems as if the rivalry that's going on between Joseph and his brothers is a picture not only of what would happen downstream through time in the material realm, but it also gives us a glimpse or an insight into what is taking place in the larger realm. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. We've already talked about firstborn, secondborn. The firstborn realm is the heavens, this larger reality in which are sons of God. The sons of God, the older sons of God, are what we would describe as angels. They're the elder realm. They're sons of Elohim. And it appears as though what happened in the garden is the Father took a tunic, a cloak, a covering of royalty and placed it upon Adam. And in my opinion, estimation, this caused an intense rivalry to develop between the firstborn realm and the Father's choice to put co-regency of the universe not upon his elder sons, excuse me, but God put the tunic of royalty upon his younger son. That would be Adam. And so this rivalry that we see downstream in Genesis 37 between brothers is not only a picture of the material realm, it also gives us a glimpse, a picture into what is happening in the larger reality. So this explains what's going on in this intense rivalry between the angelic realm and the earthly realm. The earthly realm is the realm that is going to govern and is going to have co-regency with the Creator and authority over the spiritual realm. Paul brings this forward in many places. I've already touched on Hebrews chapter 1, verses 13 and 14. It's the intention that the elder should serve the younger. That is the principle, the governing principle that's in place in every order of creation that God has established. The elder shall serve the younger. And what I see is that that didn't sit well with certain of the angelic order. We catch certain glimpses of this in passages like Isaiah 14, Ezekiel 28. Both refer to this being covered in glory and power. How this being decided that he would sit upon the throne of God, that he would have authority, that he would have, I will ascend, I will. He had these 5 I wills of the adversary. And what we see, I believe, is that this powerful principality, this powerful being in the angelic realm did not like the idea of service to the younger, the second-born realm of God, and said, no way, boys, there's no way this is going to happen. There's a new sheriff in town. This is not right. There's no way I'm going to serve that. And so his rebellion and his seduction of the second-born realm takes place. So we begin to see some of the tension that's happening. And we catch a glimpse of that from the story of the rivalries between the brothers in the patriarchs. But the blessing consistently lands on the second-born and not upon the firstborn. I hope that makes sense. I also wanted to address something in Genesis 6 that I think sets up a difference between the angelic realm and the material realm, the earthly realm. These beings, this mixture that takes place in Genesis 6, where we find this order of being that's referred to in Genesis 6 as the sons of Elohim, saw that the daughters of man were beautiful. I think one of the things that we're seeing here, capturing a glimpse of, is that these are sons of only Elohim. That the angelic realm had no knowledge. They did not have the complete picture. They did not have the full understanding of who their creator was. All they had access to was the information that what they were privy to, and that was the powerful judge realm of Elohim. So when we find that these children are called sons of God, I think we're catching a hint at the insights that they had of the divine, of the creator, only came from that powerful judge realm. And that they could only extrapolate meaning and understanding from their one half of the picture. In fact, in Ezekiel 28, we find that this being, this powerful being, perfect in beauty and wisdom, doesn't have all the stones of covering. There's only 9 stones that are mentioned as his coverings, whereas the high priest of Israel has 12 stones. This being had only partial understanding of God, and that the additional revelation that God was going to disclose to all of his created order, that the celestial as well as the terrestrial, were going to come through the creation of man, that he was going to provide additional insights. And this is what I believe we're discovering when we find that the angels have a longing to look into our salvation. They didn't understand grace and forgiveness. They didn't understand how the withholding of judgment could sync up with their understanding of the powerful judge. God judges the adversary and sentences him to an eternal doom. And the adversary accuses God and says it's not fair. The punishment outweighs the crime, and God says, okay, let's take a look at that. Let's evaluate your accusation against me. And it is in this context that I believe the role of humanity has this revelatory nature to our older brothers in the angelic realm. That even though mankind fell in the same rebellion of the adversary, that we chose our own path contrary to God's will, just like the adversary did, that the angels, in my this is just a guess, but my speculation is that the angels expected judgment to take place instantly upon the man and the woman. Instead, what they see is that judgment has been withheld for a season, but judgment is still being executed, just not upon the humans. Judgment, the divine judgment or justice of God, is being satisfied now, not by eliminating humanity, but by taking the life of an innocent animal. I think in that moment, the angels were astonished that their perception of God as the powerful, righteous judge, the God of order, the God of cause and effect, that when he withheld judgment upon the human race, I believe that they were like, what just happened? Hey, did you see that? How could he do that? He disciplined our eldest brother, the adversary. How can he not discipline Adam and Eve? How can he withhold judgment and justice upon humanity when he judged us? How can that happen? How can he, the creator, still be just and withhold justice from humanity while we caught the full force of it? So there's this wonder and amazement that's going on in the elder realm. They're wondering, how's the math on this going to work? How is this going to work out? And so we see through the unfolding of time that the way it works out is that the creator, Elohim, Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh Elohim, the Echad One, being of the very highest of the spiritual realm, goes to the very lowest place in the material realm, and that he himself, by becoming our sin bearer, fulfills the law, the principle, the governing dynamic of the elder shall serve the younger. The eldest in the angelic realm, refused to serve the younger of the material realm and became the adversary. The creator withheld judgment upon humanity by being the very highest. The highest order is himself, and he went to the very lowest place as a man, and he served, the eldest served the youngest by taking upon himself humanity and became our sin bearer, that his justice was satisfied in the bearing of the sin in Yeshua, our prince, our king. And so this equation of justice withheld from humanity for a season became answered and satisfied by the angelic, or in the angelic realm, when Yeshua, the very highest, the creator of all things, stepped to the lowest rung on the ladder by becoming a man. And when you think about it, he could have stepped into humanity as a woman, but that wouldn't be the lowest place now, would it? The very lowest place, the very lowest order of existence is not the female, it's the male. She is the crown of the man. She is, I believe, resonating at a slightly higher spiritual frequency than man. I know that this is the case in my marriage. My wife just sees things. She just has a sensitivity to things that I'll just walk blindly right into. Anyhow, that's just for your consideration. But God, the creator, stepped into humanity. He went from the highest place to the very lowest place, stepped into humanity as a man, satisfied the judgment and justice of God by becoming our sin bearer. And this is an astonishment to the angelic realm, that we complete angelic understanding, that this is brought forward again as I'm thinking of it in Ephesians 3:10. Oops, there we go. I'll give a little head start here. I'm reading from Ephesians 3, verse 8. To me, Paul speaking, to me, who am less than the least of all the saints, this grace was given that I should preach among the Gentiles the unsearchable riches of Christ, and to make all see what is the fellowship of the mystery, which from the beginning of the ages has been hidden in God, who created all things through Yeshua Messiah. And here's the verse, Ephesians 3:10, to the intent that now the manifold wisdom of God might be made known by the church to the principalities and powers in heavenly places according to the eternal purpose which he accomplished in Yeshua Messiah, our Lord. So we see there that the wisdom of God is being displayed. It's being put on display to principalities, powers, and authorities, which is a Paul term for over there. The celestial realm is made up of principalities, powers, rulers, and authorities. I believe there's a hierarchy that's mentioned there. But in any case, the wisdom of God is being put on display to principalities, powers, rulers, and authorities through the church. We are the completion of their revelation and understanding of God. So this, without going too much farther, I hope you begin to see that there's resonance that carries throughout the entire scripture of this rivalry between the older and the younger, and how Yeshua fully satisfies all the justice requirements of God and answers questions of the angelic realm. All right, to be continued in our next section. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope to see you in the next video.